The lives of INFJs can feel uniquely difficult for a variety of reasons that arise from their internal wiring and deep sense of identity. INFJs are deeply introspective and emotionally complex individuals who tend to carry an innate sense of responsibility toward others and the world. This intense inner life can become both a gift and a curse. They are idealists who see not just how the world is, but how it could be, and they often feel a personal responsibility to bring about that better future. This can lead to a chronic sense of disappointment, as the realities of life, messy, unjust, and chaotic, rarely align with the visions they hold so dear. They may internalize the world's pain and suffer in silence, feeling isolated in their struggle to reconcile hope with reality. Unlike many extroverted or more pragmatic types, INFJs operate from a place of deep intuition, introverted intuition, combined with a strong moral compass, extrovert feeling. This blend causes them to constantly scan the emotional and psychological terrain of those around them, while also navigating a rich internal world of meanings and patterns. Because they intuitively understand things that others can't yet articulate, such as emotional undercurrents, hidden motives, or future implications, they may feel out of step with those around them. Others might see them as overly sensitive, overly serious, or just too much. This disconnect can lead to loneliness, not in the physical sense of being without people, but in the deeper sense of being unseen and misunderstood. INFJs are also prone to perfectionism, not necessarily in a superficial sense of wanting everything to be tidy and ordered, but in a deeper drive to do things right according to their personal ethics and values. This can make them hard on themselves, often leading to burnout or emotional exhaustion. They frequently feel that they must be strong for others, putting everyone else's needs before their own, while quietly drowning in their unspoken pain. Because they rarely express the full intensity of what they feel, others often don't recognize when an INFJ is suffering. This dynamic contributes to a pattern of emotional self-neglect, where the INFJ's inner needs are eclipsed by the outward image of calm and competence they try so hard to maintain. The combination of their introversion and extrovert feeling function also creates internal tension. While they need solitude to recharge and process their thoughts, they also care deeply about people and crave meaningful connection. Finding this balance can be draining. If they spend too much time with others, they feel overwhelmed. If they retreat for too long, they feel isolated. It's a paradox they live with daily. Additionally, because they are often drawn to emotionally intense relationships and situations, INFJs can become entangled in dynamics where they give more than they receive, perpetuating cycles of emotional depletion and self-doubt. There's also the burden of clarity that comes with being highly intuitive. INFJs often sense when relationships are no longer serving them, when someone is lying, or when a situation is heading toward failure long before others do. But because they value harmony and fear being misunderstood or rejected, they may suppress their insights, allowing situations to unravel further than necessary. This suppression leads to frustration and regret, reinforcing their tendency to internalize blame and shame. Also, many INFJs report feeling like old souls or outsiders. From an early age, they may feel alienated from their peers because of their unique way of seeing the world. While others might be preoccupied with surface-level concerns, the INFJ is often already pondering purpose, mortality, and the broader implications of human behavior. This existential orientation can make them feel alone even in the midst of a crowd. Career-wise, INFJs often struggle to find fulfillment. They crave purpose and meaning in their work, and they are deeply affected by environments that are disorganized, unethical, or devoid of emotional intelligence. Routine jobs, corporate hierarchies, and emotionally shallow settings can feel like slow suffocation. Yet their idealism and self-doubt may prevent them from pursuing creative or unconventional paths where they might thrive, especially if they fear failure or judgment. This internal tug-of-war can lead to years of feeling lost or unfulfilled professionally. INFJs also have difficult lives because they carry the weight of dual worlds, the world as it is, and the world as it could be. They move through life as emotional alchemists, trying to transform suffering into insight, pain into healing, confusion into clarity. But that transformative power comes at a cost. The very qualities that make INFJs wise, compassionate, and visionary also make them vulnerable to existential fatigue, emotional exhaustion, and chronic self-doubt. Their journey is often a lonely one, marked by beauty and burden in equal measure. And while their inner light may be brilliant, it is also a hard one, fueled by years of inner work, silent battles, and a persistent hope that their presence might somehow make the world a little more kind, a little more, just a little more whole. Another reason INFJs tend to have difficult lives is that they often feel like they are walking through the world with no skin. They absorb other people's emotions and inner conflicts as if they were their own. This emotional permeability makes it hard for them to distinguish between what is theirs and what belongs to others. When a loved one is hurting, the INFJ often hurts just as much, sometimes more, because they may feel a responsibility to fix things, to carry burdens that were never theirs to begin with. Over time, this leads to emotional exhaustion, compassion fatigue, and even a sense of spiritual erosion. This sensitivity is often misunderstood or dismissed by those who do not share it. Because INFJs appear calm, composed, and capable on the outside, others may not realize the depth of their inner life. This causes a painful mismatch between how they are perceived and who they truly are. INFJs often feel invisible in this way, as if the core of them is never truly seen or valued. They may spend years, even decades, offering profound emotional support to others while quietly starving for someone to ask, "How are you really?" Their friendships and romantic relationships can also be challenging. INFJs crave deep, soulful connection, something beyond the surface-level interactions that most people are content with. They seek authenticity, vulnerability, and resonance. But because these traits are rare, INFJs often settle into relationships that feel emotionally one-sided or shallow. They may pour their energy into people who don't understand them, hoping they will eventually be seen, only to be disappointed again and again. When an INFJ finally withdraws, it's not out of coldness, but out of necessity, a protective act to reclaim their energy and emotional integrity. In many cases, INFJs carry a quiet trauma, the trauma of being consistently misunderstood. They grow up with a sense that they are different, often more reflective or more emotionally intense than those around them. If this difference is not nurtured and accepted, they learn to hide it. They become chameleons, mirroring the emotional needs of others, fitting in where they can, but rarely feeling at home. This can create an identity crisis, where they begin to lose track of who they really are beneath the masks they wear. Their desire to be accepted clashes with their need to be authentic, and this internal conflict can lead to depression, anxiety, and a chronic sense of alienation. INFJs also tend to struggle with decision-making, not because they are indecisive in the typical sense, but because every decision carries so much weight for them. They are future-focused and empathetic, so they can see the ripple effects of every choice, not just on themselves, but on others. They want to make the right choice, the one that is ethically sound, emotionally wise, and aligned with their vision of a meaningful life. But life rarely offers clear answers, and this high standard can paralyze them. They may end up stuck in analysis paralysis, feeling torn between logic, intuition, and moral obligation. The workplace can be another place where they struggle. INFJs are often deeply principled and vision-driven, but they are placed in environments where efficiency, profit, or hierarchy matters more than integrity or emotional intelligence. When faced with manipulation, injustice, or shallow values, they can't just go along with it. They may speak up, often to their own detriment, or quietly withdraw, sacrificing career advancement for the sake of staying true to themselves. Many INFJs end up in helping professions or creative fields, which suit their values but often come with instability, low pay, or emotional toll. They long to make a difference, but the systems they inhabit frequently feel too broken or too indifferent to let them. Spirituality and existential questioning are also at the heart of the INFJ struggle. Many INFJs live in a near-constant dialogue with the unseen, their own conscience, the future, the deeper meaning of things. They're drawn to big questions. Why am I here? What is my purpose? How can I live in alignment with truth? This makes them seekers by nature, but not always finders. Their spiritual hunger is vast, but the answers are rarely simple. Faith, belief, and inner peace are often hard-won, arrived at only after navigating personal darkness, doubt, and disillusionment. What makes this all the more difficult is that INFJs rarely ask for help. They are often the emotional anchors in their families or social circles, the ones people turn to in crisis. They listen, hold space, and offer guidance, but they rarely feel they can ask for the same in return. Vulnerability feels risky, especially when they've been hurt before by opening up and not being met with understanding. So they often carry their pain alone, believing that doing so is part of their role, their duty, or their spiritual path. Despite all this, INFJs are not inherently doomed or broken. Their difficulty in life stems not from weakness but from depth. Their challenges are profound because their gifts are profound. The same traits that isolate them, empathy, insight, idealism, are also the ones that, when nurtured and balanced, allow them to become powerful forces for healing and transformation. But it takes time, self-awareness, and often suffering for an INFJ to learn how to protect their heart without closing it, how to hold their vision without being crushed by the world's weight. Another challenge for INFJs is the dissonance between their inner world and the external world. The internal landscape of an INFJ is vast, rich with meaning, intuition, emotion, and vision. It is a place of quiet revelations and deep truths, often shaped by their relentless need to understand themselves, others, and the nature of life. But when they step into the outer world, full of noise, superficiality, and transactional relationships, it feels jarring. There is a sense of being perpetually displaced, like an old soul wandering through a culture that has lost touch with what really matters. The result is a persistent feeling of spiritual and emotional alienation, even in spaces that are supposed to be familiar. This alienation isn't always dramatic. It's often subtle. It shows up in conversations that feel hollow, in relationships that lack depth, in social roles that require them to smile when their soul is tired. INFJs may sit in rooms full of people and feel as though they are on another planet. They may laugh at a joke and then retreat internally, wondering why no one talks about the things that truly matter. The ache of not being met on a meaningful level can be relentless. It leads many INFJs to withdraw, not because they dislike people, but because connection without resonance is more painful than being alone. What makes this even more difficult is that INFJs are often deeply misunderstood, even by those closest to them. Their complexity, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual, doesn't fit neatly into the boxes others are comfortable with. They are often told they are too sensitive, too intense, or too idealistic, all of which are ways of saying that the world does not know what to do with them. INFJs are not easy to categorize, and many people prefer what they can easily define. This misunderstanding reinforces the INFJ's belief that they are fundamentally different, perhaps even flawed. It can trigger years of internal conflict, where they doubt their own value simply because it is not mirrored back to them. INFJs often equate love with sacrifice and care with self-abandonment. Their instinct is to give, to help, to heal, even when it comes at great personal cost. And because they are naturally private and prone to keeping their pain hidden, others rarely realize how much the INFJ is giving up or how exhausted they have become. This imbalance can continue until the INFJ experiences burnout, emotional numbness, or a kind of existential despair that's hard to describe to anyone who hasn't lived it. INFJs also have a unique relationship with time and the future. Their dominant cognitive function, introverted intuition, constantly looks forward. They don't just live in the present. They project into the future, seeing possibilities, patterns, and outcomes that others can't yet detect. While this makes them visionaries, it also creates a deep and constant tension between the life they live and the life they can imagine. Their minds are often steps, or years, ahead of their circumstances, which makes the present feel insufficient. They see who they could become, what the world could be, and how others could grow. But the actual pace of life, slow, resistant to change, filled with obstacles, feels agonizingly out of sync with their inner clarity. This disconnection between vision and reality can feel tragic. INFJs are often filled with beautiful ideas, meaningful projects, and powerful insights, but they may struggle to bring these into the world. They are often overwhelmed by where to start, burdened by the fear of imperfection, and exhausted by the mundane tasks required to manifest big ideas. The result is a kind of spiritual restlessness, a feeling of being full of potential, yet unable to find the right doorway to express it. For some INFJs, this leads to feelings of unfulfillment or failure, even when others view them as successful. Despite all this difficulty, INFJs keep showing up. They keep trying. They keep loving. They keep believing, however cautiously, that there is still something in this world worth fighting for. They continue to listen deeply, to dream vividly, and to offer compassion in a culture that often devalues it. Their difficulty is not just a byproduct of being different. It is a byproduct of depth. And depth, in a shallow world, will always come at a cost. But even within this difficulty, INFJs often discover a quiet power. Through suffering, they learn wisdom. Through isolation, they cultivate clarity. Through heartbreak, they become more open, not less. In the long run, many INFJs find that their path, though hard, is meaningful beyond words. And that, more than anything, is what they've always truly wanted. Not an easy life, but one that's meaningful.